In terms of growing up without a father, sometimes not being with your mother, do you lament on and look back and say, damn, I missed something big?
Everything. I know for a fact that had I had a father, had I had someone, and I hate saying this because white people love hearing black people talk about this, but had I had a father, had I had some of these opportunities, I'd have been able to help my mother more. She wouldn't have went the road she went. I could have been a better son. You know what I'm saying? She wouldn't have went that road. It was the absence of my father. You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with him being daddy not being there. My mother's dealing with him being my man not being there. You know, so many problems in our community that affect everything. So by me not having that, I ain't never want to hear nothing about no kind of relationships between a black man and a black woman. I knew they didn't work. Because as far as I knew, my daddy was the coolest dude out there. And my mama was a Panther. So if they didn't work, it don't work.
Welcome to the field of fatherhood.
Welcome to the field of fatherhood. Here we got Tupac Shakur, ripped to the GOAT, talking about his father not being there and how it affected him. Now, this clip is from 1994. Tupac, if I'm not mistaken, died in 1996 when he was 25 years old. So he was about 23 years old in this clip. When Tupac died, I was a kid, but it still amazes me now that I'm much older than he was when he died at 25. Hearing the way how passionate he was and how much he knew and understood about different areas of society at such a young age. Still amazes me to this day, right? But in this clip, he's talking about his father not being there and what that created in his mind and how he feels like everything would have been different if he had his father. And so the point I want to pull from this is the fact that, I think we've all accepted that Tupac was a smart kid. We know he went to art school and did a lot of things and was good at poetry and obviously aware of his societal surroundings and great kid. But when a parent is missing, it impacts even a gifted child, especially when there's no communication, because when you don't know why or how or the direct circumstances of someone not being there and there's no communication, and you're raised around the idea that, this is what a family is and this is what every kid should have, the not knowing does something to the psychology of a child. So you ever been attempting to get in contact with a loved one, right? Time goes by and you don't hear from them. Let's just say it's like a really close loved one, like a child or a spouse, right? And it's a few hours and you don't hear anything back. And every now and then, if this doesn't happen often, maybe you start to panic, like, what? I hope everything's okay. And you finally talk to them, and it's just something like, oh, the phone went dead, or I left my phone at home, it was right there beside you. Now, in that circumstance, generally like, oh, this person's at school or at work or something like that. So you have an idea what's going on, and you can still almost drive yourself crazy in a small amount of time. So imagine a child who's dealing with the whole childhood of a parent, or a father in this case, not being there. So the child is dealing with, daddy's not here. But then they're also dealing with, well, why is daddy not here? Why doesn't daddy want to be around me? The same questions that I tell y'all about all the time. That's why I like to stress that if you can't be in the home with your child, please establish a line of communication. And if a line of communication is not being allowed, understand that you do not have to stand by that. Nobody can keep your child from you. Don't use that as an excuse if really you're not trying. Because that's another thing that we do. We as fathers, a lot of times is, oh, well, she won't let me talk to him. So, oh, well, on to the next thing, on to the next bitch, on to the next whatever I got going on. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable at all. So at least establish a line of communication and have some regular communication with that child so that there's no filtering of your messaging and what it is and why it is that you're doing what you're doing or are where you are. Please, fathers, if you've got children who you don't live with, don't leave it up to the mother or the rest of the family to let them know where your mind is and what you're thinking about them and how you feel about them. Because like I always tell you, it's never too late. You could always pick up when the child's 35 and go speak your piece. But never late is better. I think it's a Drake line that, better late than never, but never late is better. So you can do it late, but do it now. Are you trying to figure out how to do it now? Is there something blocking you from being able to get in contact with your child and you need help just figuring out the next steps? Click the link in the bio on Instagram. Click the link in the box on YouTube. Get a personal coaching session from me or one of the elite fathers on my team. Email us at fatherfigurecoach@gmail.com to get a free consultation. Send me your questions. If it's 3 questions or less, I'll answer the questions, send it right back to you, and we can go from there. Don't even worry about it. Being great is a choice. I'm off the field.